Hi guys, welcome to Rusty Audio. Another road trip is going on. This time I'm going to Columbus, Georgia to pick up a pair of speakers. And yes, you guessed it right, Cerwin-vega. And these are kind of hard to find in the United States. They were mainly sold via the military in Europe. And this is the D1E, not D1 but D1E. I'll snap some photos when I get down there, maybe film some more videos along the way. It's a 5 hours and 51-minute drive. If I drive straight down, we're probably gonna make a couple of stops, so it's probably 6.5 hours, but it sure is worth it. I don't care what you collect. I mean, I collect Cerwin-vega just because of my reasons, but I mean, if you collect JBL or something else, a lot of people do these road trips and they go around and pick up stuff. So I don't expect everyone to understand why I collect Cerwin-vegas, but for those of you who do and are my fellow collectors on that brand and are in the Cerwin-vega group, you guys know what it means. So I'm at the gas station right now getting some apple danishes and something to drink, and I'll get back to you later. Yep, Columbus, Georgia, here we come. Hi Cerwin-vega fans, I promised you a video of the D1E when they came into the house, and I was going to tell you a little bit more about them. A lot of people say, well, what's the difference, what's the big difference between the D1E and the D1? Well, there is not much of a difference between those two. A little bit there is, but not much. We can start with the front, and the difference in the front right away is that the D series came with some type of a brownish cloth, grill cloth. The D1E has black. The D1 had a little badge up here in the corner. The D1E has a bottom one that goes all the way across the bottom, and it has some more information on it. So it's a different type of logo or badge. So that's what you see right off the bat. Cabinet is different than from the D1 to the D1E. Not much when it comes to size, maybe a little bit. Internal volume is a little bit different, and the reason for that is because the front baffle on these speakers are flush. They are not like the D1 sunk in the front, because the D1 has a little bit sunk in front baffle. That might make them a little bit smaller, but not much. It wouldn't even make much difference. When it comes to drivers, they are pretty much the same. The crossover in the back is the same. This model here, the D1E, has a back plate that is marked D1. So and the crossover, if I remember correctly, is attached to the back plate. So it's basically the same thing. When it comes to performance, keep in mind that I listened to the D1 many years ago, and it's probably 7 or 8 years since I heard them or used them frequently. But from what I remember, and I remember it good that I had when I had them for a limited period of time, they surprised me a lot. The D1 and the D1E is maybe the smallest speaker that so far has surprised me the most when it comes to the small Cerwin-vegas and what I call the baby Cerwins. I have a pair of VS down here that are in the same size range, two-way with an 8-inch woofer and tweeter. I think they sound mighty good as well. But what I'm going to do as soon as I get these rephoned is I'm going to take a head-to-head test between these and the VS. And we'll see what happens. But these plays really, really good. D1E compared to the D1, what was the main difference in sales? Well, D1E was basically made for the military and sales in the military and in Europe. I don't think they started out as a European model. If I remember correctly, from what I've been told, they started out as a military model and sold on base here in the States and in Europe. But due to demand from the distributors, the Cerwin-vega company decided that, okay, we'll sell them outside of the military bases in Europe. And it was very fitting that they had an E after it. I think the E was originally meant to stand for exchange, the military exchange. I don't think it was meant to be meaning Europe. It was meant to mean exchange. But of course, as they started selling these, the E got the meaning, at least in Europe, people said, well, E stands for Europe. So let the people in Europe think that, and the people in the States will go and say, well, it stands for the exchange. So, what is the biggest surprise here? I mean, it's a two-way. So, a lot of people go like, well, you can't have too many surprises with a two-way. Well, you can. You can. If you have a crossover that is crossed very correctly, I'm not saying that Cerwin-vega have the best crossovers in the world, because they don't. But this one is crossed over very, very nicely. And so the interaction between the tweeter and the woofer is really good. And it gives the whole speaker a full-size sound, if you know what I mean. This one can compete with a lot of three-way systems where you have a woofer and maybe a 3 or a 4-inch mid and a tweeter. And the reason for that is because of like the crossover, but also the combination of the type of woofer and the range of the woofer compared to other woofers. And when you interact this woofer with a horn tweeter, a D horn, it kind of goes from the bottom and all the way up. When you listen to these, you're not like sitting there like, I'm missing something. Okay, it's not playing the same bass as DX9 and AT100, but if you have that philosophy that these are going to play the same bass as that, then you need to adjust your thinking a little bit. But take them for what they are, for the size they are. They are a bookshelf speaker, maybe a stand speaker. They're not a floor model speaker. So if you take them for what they are and listen to them for what they are and what they are meant to give you, you will be surprised how good the bass is and how nice the upper mid-range transits into the tweeter that is in this model. So they did something really right with the D1 and the D1E compared to a lot of the other smaller series. I have heard the small ones in RE series, and I have the RE16 up here, but the RE20 is more comparable to this one. And the RE20 cannot touch the D1 or the D1E in sound. No way. It will surprise me greatly if the VS, the VS80 that I have here, if they can beat these on sound. I don't think they will. I don't think the VS80 can match these on sound. Just because what I recently have used, I used the VS speakers now, and from what I remember these playing, so to me, I think this D1E will knock the shit out of the VS80. And that's another thing to think about too. The VS80 have a slightly bigger volume of the cabinet inside, so it should generate a little bit more bass, but I don't think it will. The port on the VS80 on the back side of the speaker is almost twice the size of this port. this is just a little tiny port that almost fits my index finger. And so the VS in construction and on paper should beat this one, but practical terms are way different. I'm looking forward to doing this head-to-head battle between the VS80 and the D1E, because in my mind the D1E I think will win. I think this one will be the better one. So I'm extremely happy to find these in the United States, because you can find D9E and you can find the other bigger models like D5 and D5E and all that. The D1E is, for some reason here in the States, really hard to come by. The bigger models are easier. Why? Well, it's hard to say, but you know, the D9E is a pretty brutal speaker, and when people saw it, they got drawn to it. And you know, military guys, young guys, they want the big stuff. So, condition on this pair, if I'm gonna rate it, where let's do a, you know, roll the dice, 1 to 6. 6 is the best. What condition will I rate these in? Well, beside the obvious that you have to refoam them, once they're refoamed, that's not an issue. Then we have to start to look at the cabinets. Overall, they're in very good condition. There's some small nicks on the back edges here, but what can you expect? These are somewhere between 1983 and 1988. So what can you expect? Some dings will always show. There's no big scratches on the veneer, on the top, on the bottom, on the sides, front. No big scratches. So we only have a few dings on the corners on the back. I have to wipe them off a little bit. I'm going to do that soon. So if I'm going to roll the dice from 1 to 6, 6 is the best, 1 is the worst. I'll give these 4 on the dice in cosmetic condition. Operational condition right now, well, I don't want to play them. I don't want to risk damaging the voice coil due to foam rot. Once they are refoamed, I have tested them just with signal, so the crossover and everything works. They all play. So I'll give them a 4 on operational right now. Of course, after I refoam them, they are a 6. Perfect operational condition. I had a plan of making a profit on these, but as time has gone by, a couple of days now, I don't think I will. I think I'll keep them, and they will be my new babies. I just sold my Advents today, thank God, so I'm clearing out some space here. So now I can put these, and I can put the R10 that I got that stands on the floor down here. I can put them up in my on my wall here once the Advents goes out on Friday, and then I can put 2 more Cerwins up here. That way it makes this wall, it will be only Cerwin-vega, because the I will pull the Altex out and put them aside for now. So then it will be a pure Cerwin-vega wall. I think I'm also going to take away the bookshelf speakers and the monitor speakers on the floor here, put in a pair of stands, maybe. I haven't decided yet. If I do put in a pair of stands on the floor there, the VS goes back here, the V8 goes back here, and probably the U6, and if I can fit it, the RA16. And then I'm going to use the system over here for the Altex. What else? Well, let me get them fixed. It's probably not going to be done within a week or 2, but I have to order foam for them. And once I get them, it depends on what my schedule is, because as you know, I'm working on the Bad Dog speakers too, so I only have so many hours in the day. But I will take a Saturday or Sunday and refoam them and get them up and running and do the comparison.